Talking about stiffness today, talking about joint stiffness being elastic, increasing stiffness. Isaiah knows all about that. And I'm just gonna pose a question to Isaiah because he hasn't seen this yet. And we're gonna see what his response is regarding this specific concept. So I want you to watch this a few times, Isaiah. I want you to tell me if you notice anything, if you see anything, and what you think of the question, the prompt, if you will. Is there anything
So, for the
specific?
listeners, this is a video here of John bounding. It says, which leg, right or left, is stronger in the weight room? Which leg do you think has better stiffness in plyos and why? If you hit the nail on the head, I'll feature you on the podcast.
Dillan
Oh,
McCarthy says third leg is stronger. I don't
the
think
third
that's the
leg?
answer. That's what he
Oh,
said.
it was a trick question. The
It
third leg
wasn't a
has the
trick
best
question, but
stiffness.
what leg do you think is which leg in the weight room is stronger, my right leg or my left leg? What are you looking at here when you're analyzing this?
Well, you kind of gave it away early before the
What do you mean?
podcast.
I
I
didn't
think
give it
I heard you
away.
say it. I think I
I
heard
didn't
you
say
say,
it. I might have.
okay, the right leg is the strong one, but the left leg is the stiffer one because the left leg is undergoing such short ground contact times that has to be stiff. The right leg on your
What do
one
you mean
foot,
it's what do you mean the left leg is undergoing short ground contact times?
left leg, that's your plant leg
Like during what?
during a 1 foot jump, during your approach.
Ding
The
ding ding
right
ding.
leg, and then you always say your right knee gives you issues. And I think
Mm,
is your left knee.
my left knee is the problem knee for sure. 100%.
Oh, I could have
That's
sworn
the
you
one I've
had
torn.
tendon pain in the
But
right leg.
watch, look, here's what we're gonna look
But
here, and there's a few good answers here, but go ahead. I wanna hear your
I
soliloquy.
think the reason your right leg is stronger is because that's the leg that's lowering you, and it's going into 90 degrees of flexion and then pushing hard as hell into the out, like it's projecting you out. And then your left leg is just basically holding position. It's holding the line.
Yeah, so that my body can maintain stiffness. So I do agree with a lot of what you said. I'm actually gonna go through these comments because there's a lot of really good feedback. If you guys are listening to this or you're someone that has commented on this video, or you don't, maybe you should go comment on the video and tell me what you think if you haven't already. But we're just gonna go through this. We're gonna ignore Dylan's comment. And Andy says left leg more elastic, right leg stronger in the weight room. That is true. And let's see what else. Ben didn't add any value there. Ben Moxness, he said it sounds like Jurassic Park. So we have, I would speculate that your left leg is stronger in the weight room. And this is based visually off the level of deformation during ground contact. Your left leg maintains greater stiffness at the knee joint, while your right leg appears to flex and spend more time on the ground. And how about that podcast? You are getting featured, by the way. I really like this guy. His last name is Moses, Power and Prowess. Really, really smart guy, doing a lot of cool stuff in jump training. But my right leg is definitely deforming more. And the reason for this, I believe, is because it lacks stiffness. I think that the tendon, musculotendinous unit is not, even though it is, let me say this, even though it is stronger, I don't have the capability in a stretch shortening cycle to generate that stiffness very, very quickly through that quasi isometric effect that we see in bounding specifically. You're going to definitely see it in other things, but it's almost certainly the case that when you're bounding, you're having the tendon stretch and store a ton of energy. So when you're looking at the right tendon specifically, or the right patella tendon, if you're watching the video on the third contact, so you'll see here, that's the first contact. I actually do a decent job handling that one. And then the left leg, I get a really, really strong bound off of. And then right here, as I hit the ground, I flex way down and push out of it. And that's because I'm strong enough to handle that position, but the tendon is not really stiff. So I'm getting this really long, compliant, basically like a slinky type takeoff. My tendon is not stiff enough in that position. That is my honest lens of this. But there are some other good pieces of feedback that I also agree with. So he said, looks like your right leg is stronger. That's what Hiram Fexer said. Right is stronger in the weight room. True. This is a good one from Gasper Epro. So he's a high jump coach out of Estonia. He is obsessed with jumping just like me. He's coached a handful of world-class high jumpers. He said, depends. Hard to tell. The entry to ground contact is not the same. The right grabs further, hence amortizes more. I think what he means there is I'm either kicking out a bit more, or that as I'm rolling through that contact, you're seeing a longer amortization, which he is right. I am amortizing a lot during that. And then he said in equal conditions, they would be far less from each other. Left slightly stiffer, probably. And then Yannick said this depends on the movement. Step ups and leg presses, right is stronger, but anything quad or calf dominant, left will be stronger. So my calf on the left leg is definitely way stronger, but I definitely am far stronger on my right quad than my left quad. And I actually think that that happens because I get so many contacts on the left leg. And I've noticed this by switching between the two. Like, for example, there was a period of time I jumped only on my left leg, and there was a period of time I jumped only on my right leg. And when I jump all the time off my right leg, and Isaiah, you can tell me if you corroborate this because you've done both, that leg, whatever leg I jump off more is the one that feels weaker in the weight room. I don't care if it's, if it's dunking or high jumping, whatever it is, the leg that I do more jumps off one foot, is the one that will feel weaker in the weight room. And that will last anywhere from like pretty much if I'm doing normal weekly sessions. That's what I notice.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that or no in your case?
My right leg has always been stronger than my
Even
left.
when you've been jumping off of it more?
I don't know.
Because think about this, you're a left-right jumper, right? So if
Yeah.
that's the leg that's under more flexion, you're using it more in the jump sessions, it's going to be massively fatigued on your weight room days. Or like you would assume that leg would be stronger, wouldn't you? Because it's your plant leg.
Yeah.
It's in deeper flexion, right?
I've always been
And
confused by it. I honestly think a huge reason is because
of the knee pain.
that left knee and like that left leg just in general has gone through so many injuries that single leg work exposes it. I just guard it so much.
If you want to build elite stiffness, you should probably click the link in the description, and we'll help you be the stiffest, most elastic, bounciest athlete. Exhibited here by me, the worst athlete on
I
the
mean,
training,
I
doing good
actually
bending.
have a theory because even if you look at my quads, like when I flex them next to each other, my right one is visibly bigger.
Really? I think you shift towards that though during lifting. I
I
can't
can't really
see. Oh, we're getting a free show here. Isaiah's flexing the quads. Dang, dude, that's actually crazy. You're so lean right now. Damn, I'm on a weight loss
I don't know if
journey.
you can even tell a difference.
I can't tell the difference from this angle. Let me see. Okay, that's your right one.
Right? That's my right one.
Yep. I think they're just shaped differently. That's what it looks like to me. That one's supposed to be bigger. I have a
Yeah.
confirmation bias here. I can't tell.
I
I'm like,
can't
oh, you
even
said it's bigger, so I think it's bigger. Like,
I can't even when I wrap my
let's get the
my
tape
hands
measure
around
out.
it.
We got to get the tape measure out. Are you
Yeah,
on the
we
same
need a
part of
tape
your leg?
measure. I can't tell, but what you were saying, I think that might be why. I think I shift towards that right leg when I squat.
I've noticed it. I've definitely noticed it.
Yeah.
Unilateral work, you can really see those weaknesses
Mhm.
become apparent. But I have a few theories, and we went through some of these, and I do agree with some of the statements there that were said. One is that jumping more off that leg as a 1 foot jumper is going to fatigue that leg. It's going to fatigue that knee. It's going to fatigue that hip. Well, specifically the knee. I think it's really going to fatigue the quad. That's one big reason why. I think the second is maybe tendon pain. A lot of guys
Yeah.
that jump off one, they have tendon pain in that leg eventually, and so they stop pushing as hard on the strength work. I think that's two. I think that the third is the penultimate step. I think the penultimate step, being in that low rolling position over and over and over again, makes that leg really, really strong. However, if that were the case, then when I go jump off my right leg, my right leg would still be strong, right? Because it's had 10 plus years of jumping off of my left leg and it going through that same motor pattern over and over again. And that's not the case. If I jump off my right leg a bunch and do the exact same amount of strength work, my left leg will be stronger. And I've consistently seen that. When I was at Duke, I was speed jumping all the time on my right leg, like exclusively. And my left leg was way better. And I remember thinking, like, wait a minute, my right leg has always been the stronger leg. Why all of a sudden is the left leg better? Like, just randomly. And it was after doing, months of trying to learn how to speed jump off that right leg right before COVID. And that was the first time I noticed it. And I was like, I don't think it's necessarily an adaptation as much as it is that jumping off of one leg is massively fatiguing. And the reason it feels weaker or stronger is because of balance. It's not necessarily the actual output of the leg. Like I think on a, if I put them on a force plate, the peak forces would be probably pretty similar, but the RFDs might be slightly different. But I think what you would see is that my balance is way worse on whatever leg I'm jumping off more, because that's the first thing to fatigue. When you're really fatigued, like your central nervous system, balance is one of the first things that goes, because it's a really sensitive metric, right? Like, and it's not necessarily something that's going to determine your performance per se, but it's related to metrics that will determine your performance. So if you're standing on one leg, and I've heard of track coaches doing this at times, and they, you're like, oh, my balance is like a little bit off or whatever. That's one of the ways they can tell if maybe not systemically, it's more like peripherally at the actual joint, at that actual limb, you're experiencing some level of fatigue, whether it's neural or muscular or whatever else. And I've noticed that as well. I think that on a force plate, though, if you were to just say push as hard as you can and you were to measure the forces, I've tested this before, and I think the peak forces were relatively similar, but the shape of the curve was different. I have to go back and look at my ForceDex data. So yeah, that would be my lens and my experience of it. Do you have any other thoughts you want to include there, Isaiah? Do you think getting my left leg stronger and feeling stronger would make me a better jumper compared to my right if I just only did my left leg?
Not only my anecdotal experience is that the stronger I have felt on unilateral work, the higher I jump, but that's purely I don't think it's a result of the unilateral work. It's being healthy enough to handle unilateral work. Like, it wasn't that there was something special about doing a lunge that's like the best jumping exercise. It's more like
I'm
it's a
talking specifically
test.
1 foot too. I'm talking specifically 1 foot.
Yeah. I mean, 1 foot specifically, I've always felt like one-legged stuff transfers well. Like if I'm doing lunges and stuff like that, but I also jump like freaking stomping through the ground. So
Uses the least effective strategy with just the highest forces possible. My
yeah,
favorite was when we went to Sacramento at the Kings and I saw you jump off 1 foot after the event. And dude, you looked like your legs were so big at the time, and it just looked
yeah.
like a horse trying to jump off one leg. Like imagine a horse like trying to jump off one leg with one of its rear legs. Like it's got those big old hind legs, that big old horse hips. That's what Isaiah looked like when he was trying to jump, and it looked like a T-Rex. That's actually how I would best describe it. His leg was so big. And yeah, now I think after that, you've had better 1 foot sessions after doing it more and getting more explosive. You've just always gotten better from getting output beast, just being an
Yeah,
output monster, I feel like. But it would
yeah.
be fun to see you do a 1 foot arc, especially during your high jump era that you're in right now. Your
I I'm scarred from 1 foot.
your
I'm
meniscus,
scarred. Nah, the knee.
your ACL.
Nah, tendon.
Oh, wow, yeah,
Yeah.
it's tough, but you can jump off both. That's the podcast, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Click the link in the description. Bye.